Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pipeline. I'm your host again. I'm always the host. I'm your host, Eric Clemens. I'm here once again with, I guess, recurring guest by this point, Taz, Toxic Taz. Buddy, how's it going this fine Tuesday afternoon?
Doing well, doing well. I'm so glad to be up to a recurring guest star role.
Absolutely, it's always an absolute pleasure. I wasn't sure if I should. I kind of wanted to do another like Superman Lois Gotham Knights thing. That's kind of how we got started. We've been talking a lot about the Flash and not so always positive thoughts on that show, but these two shows have been shows that we have been both enjoying and having a lot of fun talking about. And also, it's just been like an insane week for just Arrowverse stuff or like movie stuff. It's been kind of a crazy week. But how have you been, man?
Been doing well, been doing well. Been busy. Worked on my big Flash video recently. Just got that out today. That took quite a while, but outside of that, just living life, having fun, working out quite a bit. Same old, same old. How about you?
Not too bad, man. It's been a crazy one. I've had the week off from like work, so it's been a weird like, should I be doing stuff or should I not be doing stuff? And it's kind of in between meeting of those two things. But yeah, no, it's been a pretty crazy one. And I think this week for just like entertainment stuff, starting this week is when it's going to get real crazy. I mean, like
Oh
we had
yeah,
Little Mermaid last week, Spider-Verse this upcoming Thursday, then The Flash, and I think all like June through like September is
yeah.
just going to be honestly like through the end of the year actually is going to be insane for just movies and stuff. So very excited for all that to get started. Levi back in the chat. Always great to see you here. Robert in the chat again. Always great to see you. So yeah, with all that being said, we have a bunch of news things here. Like this week has been crazy. I have like about 7 like news type things to talk about, and I had to cut half of them. Like we'll have to talk. I'll have to talk about the rest of them tomorrow. Um, but let's start with the Flash movie. So obviously Grant Gustin's run as the Flash has wrapped up over on the CW, but it looks like Ezra Miller's Flash might not be wrapping up maybe as soon as we would have liked. So Andy Muschietti, who obviously directed the Flash movie, has kind of tuned in on his opinion on, I guess, what's happening with the Ezra Miller casting. Now, I think obviously this movie's been really crazy because it's been getting so much praise and so much positivity that it's sometimes hard to like remember like everyone hated this movie like a year ago. Like everyone really and there's been like this past year has been a lot of back and forth of recasting. Is he or are they staying? Are we doing something completely different? But according to him, I don't think that there's anyone that could play that character as well as they did, and has stated that if he gets another Flash movie, that it would be Ezra Miller. What are your opinions on this?
I mean, I definitely would like to see the movie before I make any final judgments. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of this version of The Flash in the past DCEU movies. I'm sure you're kind of in the same boat as well, as far as we loved the Flash TV show. Grant Gustin will kind of be a tough act to follow, I guess,
Yeah.
is really the best way to put it. He's kind of, the actor that you think of when you think about The Flash. Now, obviously, I'm definitely willing to give Ezra Miller a chance and see what they do with the role. I'm excited to see the movie. Already have my tickets and everything like that. Only a couple weeks to go now. Everybody that's seen it early seems to really like the movie, and it's, I guess, just another win, I guess, if Ezra is really good in the role. But I'm not sure if we will actually, see them continue, even if
Yeah.
there is a Flash sequel. Maybe it won't be tied as directly to this as we, would originally think.
Yeah, no, it's weird because I think Ezra Miller's run has been very unfortunate. Um, I think just because they haven't played the Flash really. Like they
Yeah.
haven't really got the chance. They've been doing this for 10 years and he's been in one real movie and like one cameo. Like it's pretty frustrating because I do want to see this. Like I think if he would like if none of this controversy came up, I would be so down for them to keep playing this character. I think he's gonna be. I think they're gonna be really good here because I think with everything we've heard about this movie, It's been nonstop praise. I think they are a phenomenal actor. I love them in so many other things. Um, but yeah, no, and I think the internet's also very upset about like no other character or like no other actor will be able to play this character like him when like Grant Gustin is there. But I also think we can't fully judge that statement without having seen this movie. Like we literally have not seen him play the Flash yet. So
Yeah.
I would very much like to see that movie first and then see, okay, who's my favorite Flash, although that will probably always be, just because we spent 10 years, like you spend 10 years with any character, there's always going to be like, well, no one else can play them, right? Like no one
Right.
Iron Man again, no one can play Cap again, no one can play Thor, that's just kind of the thing by this point. Um and I don't like that state of mind in general. Like I don't like the idea of like, oh, since this person did it this good, no one else can do it ever again. I think that's a weird behavior. Like look at Batman. Look how many Batmans there are. I think if we limit ourselves to one Flash or one Superman or one Batman, we're missing out on all these other versions of all these different characters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely very open to other interpretations of the character. And I'm just excited, I guess, to see Ezra portray the Flash in a full
Yeah,
length movie rather than just, like you mentioned, relegated to cameos or just, side appearances in other characters' films. So I just hope that they actually get the chance to shine in this movie. And then, also going into it, you kind of also have to obviously separate the art from the artist and kind of, just view the movie as a movie, separating any kind of, outside controversies and everything like that.
sure. Yeah, no, it's definitely a fine line when going into this movie. Like it's such a weird thing, I think, because there were so many people like, I'm not seeing this movie. I cannot support them. I can't do this and this. And then that first trailer dropped, and it was like it vanished.
Yeah, yeah.
I've heard so little talk about like I'm not going to see this movie now, as everyone wants to see this movie. Um, and I think that definitely is something to say about our morals and like our values. Um, but yeah, no, I'm excited for this movie. I hope it's good. I think it will be good. It's either this movie is great or everyone has joined a cult and is lying to us.
Yeah,
Um,
I've heard nothing but praise from literally everybody, even
yeah,
James Gunn. I think I saw him reply to a tweet earlier in the week, and somebody was like, "Oh, is it really worth going to see The Flash?" I thought, Guardians was the greatest movie that came out this year, and then James Gunn just replies, "Is like, yeah, it's worth it. See it." So I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I'm sold.
Stephen King loved it, man. I don't
Everybody
know.
loves it.
So also kind of keeping on this topic, not much to talk about here, but I just thought this was very wholesome. Sasha Calle has talked both to Henry Cavill and Melissa Benoist for advice for The Flash. I love that. I love our little tiny DC TV crossovers. I
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
loved to have seen these two characters crossover. And you know what? Maybe they could someday. I don't know. Um, it also adds that Cavill has seen it and loves it. Um, Obviously, that could be like a PR stuff. I don't know. But that's that some people weren't so happy to hear that statement. Obviously, there's a bunch of people who are not too happy about what happened with Henry Cavill in this movie, and then obviously the future of the DCU. Again, he's seen it, and we've heard a lot of his scenes were cut from this movie, and obviously the future of Henry Cavill Superman was obviously cut down quite a lot. So yeah, no, I'm curious because I do think there's something from Henry Cavill Superman in here, but I don't know how much.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it might be relegated to just the fact that they're re-exploring that Man of Steel time period within
Mm,
the Flashpoint universe. I feel like it might just boil down to a lot of references and everything like that.
sure.
Obviously, we know that Henry Cavill isn't going to continue, at least in the mainline DCU. I mean, who knows what happens down the road later on. Maybe he eventually comes back, but I think that this is nice too, at least to see that he's still, kind of on Warner Brothers, like, I guess, nice list. Like, he gets to see the movie early. He's still in
Yeah.
contact with people that are, in the film, surrounding the film and everything like that. So I think in that regard, it's definitely a positive.
Yeah, no, I think this movie is kind of funny because like the whole kind of thing about it is that like we're going back to the first DCU movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a really fun way to wrap everything up. But it's frustrating that Henry Cavill doesn't seem to be in it.
Yeah, yeah.
You would I wish there could have been some way to at least see that like OG Trinity one more time. I would have loved like some like opening sequence with like the Justice League. I don't know if you've seen the Flashpoint movie, the like, animated
Mm-hmm.
film.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how they open that movie would be like a dream to see
Yeah,
that in like live
exactly,
action.
exactly. That's how I'm hoping that the movie goes, at least from like the
Sure.
cameos and stuff that have been leaked, the cameos that we know about. That'd be nice if that's kind of how the movie starts, as well as to just kind of reference that animated and the comic version of it and everything like that.
Sure. So up next, so I did just kind of want to circle back on this, and kind of one of our main discussions here is just that the Arrowverse is over. Like it's been about a week now, since the Flash officially wrapped up. We've talked about it a couple times by this point. How are you kind of feeling about everything? Like obviously both of our channels have been so like dedicated, or a big part of both of our lives and channels. How are you kind of feeling like a week later now that everything is kind of over?
I mean, it's kind of fully hitting me now, is I didn't really, fully, I guess, comprehend that that's it. As a lot of people are saying that the Arrowverse is over, that's the end of it. I kind of choose to believe that it's kind of the close of that first, I guess, chapter of the Arrowverse. I feel like, we know that these characters are continuing on. We know that they are continuing to have adventures within the Arrowverse. While we might not be seeing it week to week, at least we do know
Yeah.
that those characters are still out there and they're still able to, I guess, be explored later on, whether that be, comic books, animation, revivals, just, actors popping up and other things later down the line. And I think kind of also sitting on that Flash finale for the past week has definitely made me kind of, I guess, appreciate it a little bit more. I've kind of come to terms with everything, and definitely really, I guess, enjoy that happy ending for Barry a lot more than I did that first night when we were just kind of, pouring out everything that
Yeah.
we were thinking in the moment. It's definitely aged very well in the last week for me.
Yeah, no, I still don't think it's fully hit me yet, and I think I'm still in just the like hiatus phase where it's like, oh yeah, it's if it wrapped its season. I think it might have the like high school effect for me, where like the summer is gonna be very chill, and I get to watch all these other things, and then come fall and winter, it's like, well, now I don't have anything to watch because
Yeah.
like with the whole writer strike even happening, I don't think there'll be much of like anything. Like I think we'll have a couple of things coming up, but I think fall is really going to hit hard when we don't like I unless Superman and Lois and Gotham Knights get picked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will
I
not
think
be watching a single Arrow like a single like CW show, and I've never done that since like I don't know 2016, 2015. Like it's been such a long road, and like obviously like I've been debating if I wanted to like revisit it all. And I think I finally decided like no, I need I need to watch other things that I
Oh
like
yeah.
and find new things. But yeah, no, it's I think that's a wild one, and but yeah, I mean that kind of leads well into this next topic that's been going around. I don't know if it was you. We talked about this somewhat a couple weeks ago. Maybe it wasn't you.
Yeah, I,
Um,
I think we talked about it a little bit on my stream. Possibly. I think we got a
yeah.
couple comments about it. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean we've got some kind of new updates about this. So obviously there's been a big back and forth story about the potential for Superman Lois to bring in Arrowverse characters, and I'm obviously very mixed on it. But apparently Todd Helbing did kind of pitch in on this idea. And we have had kind of a discussion about it over on Twitter. But he basically said that now that the other shows aren't on the air, people's schedules are a lot easier to work around. And he also talked about wanting to get like Candace to come on and be with Lois Lane and Barry and Clark. Obviously, 2 years ago, this was like the dream. Like this is what we
Right.
wanted. Um, And I don't know, to me it feels weird now personally. I how are you feeling about it?
It's a little bit of an awkward spot, right? Because it felt like Superman and Lois really wanted to separate themselves from the greater Arrowverse. They, took a stand in season 2 and said, this is it's our own Earth. Superman's the only hero here. And we are not connected to the rest of the wider Arrowverse. The Diggle that you've seen pop up on the show is a different version of Diggle. All of these mentions to, I think they mentioned even Oliver back in season 1. That's apparently not our main Earth Prime Oliver Queen either. So they really wanted to separate themselves, and it's a little bit weird now that the Arrowverse is, in a lot of people's minds over, that now they want to bring these characters and these actors over and kind of, continue it. And I feel like the way that they've set things up now, even if they do come back, it's not going to be really continuing the Arrowverse. It's just going to be continuing these actors' portrayals of these characters, but they're still going to be completely different characters because, the Superman that we have on Superman and Lois is not the Superman that we saw in Crisis. It's just a completely different character. And I thought you actually had a very interesting tweet about that earlier when you posted all the different, Tyler Hoechlin suits and everything like that. You're like, these are all different versions of Superman. And it's like, or these are all different characters. And I was like, wow, you're right. And he's played like so many different versions of Superman throughout the years. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely a love-hate. Like, I think, obviously, if this happens, I'll be very excited. I'll be very happy. We'll obviously have a lot to talk about. And, but, I think there's definitely the side of, like, you did this thing, now lay with it. Like accept this thing that you wanted to separate. And I think even back then, my issue with them separating, like, I didn't have an issue with that. My issue was them kind of hiding it and, like, prolonging it and even using, like, Diggle as their way of being like, it's a different Diggle. And, I think that left a very sour taste in my mouth.
I mean, they kind of strung us along for a whole season, making us think that it was, the same Earth and everything like that. And they even set up the show at the end of Crisis. Like, they set up the whole premise for Superman and Lois with a scene at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earth. So we all just kind of went into it thinking, oh, yeah, it's just connected to the rest of the Arrowverse. Why wouldn't it be? Obviously, it's in the same multiverse, and now that, Oliver has reopened the multiverse, there's always that possibility and everything like that, I guess. But again, if we do see these actors pop up, I'd, be more than welcome to seeing them again, but it's just not going to be the versions that we know unless they do some more multiverse travel, which I guess is always an option as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that'd probably be my preferred, is some like little multiverse event for Superman and Lois, which I'd be okay with. Like, I think.
Oh yeah.
How would you feel about like a Superman No Way Home with like Brandon Routh and Tom Welling?
That would be great. Yeah, sign me up for that right now.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it, and then bring Henry Cavill in too. Why not? If he can't be in the movies anymore, we'll just bring him over to TV, and we'll just have every single version of Superman.
Oh. I think I would be very curious to see how a certain side of the internet would react to that.
Oh, and then also bring in animated Superman from the Tomorrowverse. I think Darren Criss that did Music Meister voices him, so they could do all just every single version of Superman just for fun.
Did you hear, like, sometime after Crisis that apparently they tried to get Nick Cage to come into Crisis?
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been wild.
Oh, and he voiced Superman in Super Pets, didn't he?
Nicolas Cage?
Yeah, I think he did. I'm pretty sure. The Legion of Super Pets.
He played Superman in like the 80s, was it?
It was the canceled what was it? The canceled the director that did the 89 Batman, Burton.
Okay.
Canceled Burton Superman movie.
Sure.
That he was supposed to be Superman in. Let's see.
I know apparently the like rumor is he's in the Flash movie. So
yes, I heard that rumor as well.
So
I heard that rumor.
Maybe they beat us to the punch. I don't know. But yeah, no. I mean, and again, I'm always on board with seeing multiverse like versions of these characters. Um, I don't know. Maybe I just need time to like wait. Like I think maybe next year is too soon. I don't know. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to, I guess, wait and see
Sure,
the state of the show at the end of this
sure.
season, and maybe it'll be time to explore the multiverse at that
Yeah,
point, because we definitely have done a very grounded season so far with season
yeah,
3. So I guess it would definitely make sense to do something a little bit more spectacular, a little bit more
sure.
cosmic moving into season 4, especially if they have that max budget. So
Yeah,
we shall see.
I will say if they go to Max, I can't see any Arrowverse stuff. Like I think if it goes to Max, they will be strictly like on their own. Um, like maybe if it stays on CW, maybe, but I can't see people at Max being like, let's bring on Melissa Supergirl or something. I don't know.
Oh, that just reminded me that they cut the picture from season
Hmm.
1 where it was supposed to be or something from, I think it was Elseworlds or something, with Supergirl, Superman, and Lois that they
Yeah,
took. I think it was like just like a behind the scenes picture that they randomly took, and it was supposed to just be in the house somewhere that they
I
ended up
think
cutting.
I think end of season one is when they heard like disconnect this thing.
Yeah.
Because like season one, like look at that first ever teaser. It's literally like a clip show of all the
Mhm.
other Arrowverse shows, and then at the very end, it's like a 2 second clip of like Sprint Lois. Like it's very clearly meant to be this like next generation of like the Arrowverse. Um, and obviously Diggle, and which they keep mentioning Diggle. They
Mhm.
keep doing it. Bugs me a little bit. I don't know. Let's move on here. So we talked about this a little bit before we started streaming. So now that the show's over, and every almost every show does this, at least in this like CW space, where it's like, oh, if we would have got another season, this is what would have happened. This is what. So apparently he had a big crossover event, or not really a crossover because only one show, but like a
Mhm.
big character crossover event for season 10 called The Blackest Night, which he's talked about this a lot. Like it seemed like he
Yeah.
really wanted this thing to happen. And apparently brought back Deathstorm. And it's another tie into like this Forces storyline. And apparently we brought in characters from The Flash, Superman and Lois, Titans, and DC Stargirl. Um, and the idea was to bring all of them together to stop Nikron, which I'll be honest, I've never heard of that character, and all of his Black Lanterns, and all that stuff. I don't know how much you've heard about all of this. What are your opinion on it?
I mean, Eric Wallace likes to talk a big game about what he had planned, certain things that he put in previous seasons that were going to pay off later,
Yeah,
and it's just, I guess it's unfortunate that we never got to see it all come into fruition the way that at least it was planned out in his mind. At least he had a plan to go towards and everything like that. Do I wish that we got to see it? Sure, but
sure.
how practical would it have actually been? Would we have actually seen it to this scale? I feel like this is kind of Eric Wallace's vision for what
Yeah,
he would have wanted to do, but this is before any like studio step in, like, hey, you can't use this character, you can't do this thing. And I'm sure we actually really saw that with the Diggle storyline. Like
yes.
they wanted to make him a Green Lantern, but the studio was like, hey, you kind of can't use a Green Lantern. Sorry, guys. Diggle's just gonna have to throw that green box away.
Yeah, no, I wonder how much of this pitch was before Justice You got dropped, and how much of it was before season 8 of The Flash, where we saw him get rid of the ring. It
Mm-hmm.
seems like to me, this reminded me, and I said this a while ago, this reminded me of like what Heroes of Tomorrow was for Legends of Tomorrow, where I
Yeah,
wonder if this could have been almost like a Justice You backdoor pilot, where it's like,
maybe.
okay, he becomes Green Lantern here, he stops all of these things or whatever, and this connects our like next era of the Arrowverse with like the Flash, Superman, Lois, Stargirl, and Justice You.
That could have been
Um,
very cool.
which
That could have been
I
very
would have been
cool.
down for. I think there is definitely a frustrating part when I hear about characters from like Titans and Stargirl and stuff, where it's like, well, that's cool, but I also would have liked to have seen the like Justice League. Like I would have loved to have seen characters from like Supergirl or Legends or Batwoman, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think the one that like confuses me a little bit is Titans, where I part of me has a really hard time believing they would get anyone from Titans.
Yeah,
But go ahead, sorry.
no, they couldn't even get them for Crisis. Like they
Yeah,
had to just use the reused footage or the stock footage or whatever, same as the to get
yeah.
the Flash cameo in that.
But like what I think there's another part of me where wonders maybe if it was true because Stargirl said something very similar. Like they
Yeah,
wanted to get Titans back.
right.
And
And they
apparently
wanted to
sees
explore the multiverse.
yeah, like I wonder if this all like how crazy would it have been if like Gar's arc in season 4 of Titans and this Flash storyline and Stargirl exploring the multiverse was all connected to one giant thing.
It could have been amazing.
It could have been really cool. Like obviously there's so much that went wrong gearing up to this, but I really want to see what Arrowverse would have been without COVID and without all of these deals and company takeovers, and like I think we would have got so many cool crossover events. It's
Oh yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I would have liked to see this alternate universe where just all of this actually happened and we got to,
Yeah.
see all of these visions actually come true and everything like that. That would have been something. I mean, the Green Lantern Diggle thing is just still the biggest, I think, in my mind, just my biggest letdown for
Yeah.
the entire Arrowverse is like that was just like one of the biggest theories forever. And then they, made like I guess his stepfather was last name was Stewart, and so he's like technically John Stewart if you really wanted to go that far.
Yeah.
And the green box, and they even changed the Spartan suit to green for the final season and everything like that. And then he just kept showing up on everybody's show, and I was like, they gotta make him a Green Lantern. Like I feel bad for David Ramsey. Like I
Yeah.
feel like he's just been kind of like strung along here, like being promised that he's gonna be this big comic book character,
Yeah.
and then obviously I would have to assume that they're looking in a different direction for the Green Lanterns whenever they add them to the DCU.
Sure.
As much as I would love for them to just say, all right, David Ramsey, you're gonna just play John Stewart. That
Yeah.
that's my I'm putting that out there right now. Just even if it's not Earth Prime Diggle, just David Ramsey is John Stewart. Like, just give it to him.
You know what I'd love? Because I don't know if I would want him to be John Stewart, because I think that's such a massive character. I think you would want to start fresh.
Mhm.
But like the series seems to like have a shot where it's like a whole like hundreds of lanterns, and like in the background you just got like that actor like in the background. So yeah, he finally got to be John or a Green Lantern or whatever. But no, like looking back at everything, there's a part of me, as much as I love John Diggle, there's a part of me that wishes he never appeared again after the Arrow finale. Because I think it could have been I just think I would rather like a very open-ended story for John Diggle than this non-stop will they, won't they story with him.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that for sure.
Maybe I would have had him return this season for like
Okay.
that Oliver episode, I think. But I think if I could go back in time and stop all of this, like him keep appearing, I might have stopped it. I don't know.
Stop! You can't appear in all these shows. You're gonna break the multiverse.
I mean, I liked some of it. Like I liked John Diggle and Luke Fox. Like I think that could have been a friendship that could have been really, really cool.
Yeah.
Him and Kelly was pretty cool in Supergirl, but I don't know. It's been a mess for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had plans that just unfortunately were never able to be seen through to the end, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Stranger, that's very true, but he's also been on record for not being completely honest, and I don't know about lying, but spreading the truth a little bit to make it sound things cooler than they actually were.
I mean, if I was a showrunner, I'd hype my stuff up too.
Sure. So I assume you saw all of this stuff as well. So obviously all of this stuff continuing, but like I would have done this and this. So apparently in season 9 he wanted to bring back Julia Albert and Penny Spivak, and they would have been a married crime-fighting duo, the Hot Pursuit. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, everybody wanted Patty to come back and like kind of threw around the Hot Pursuit name because I believe that is a route that her character goes down in the comics and everything
Hmm.
like that. I know that Julian Albert was supposed to come back, I believe, for season 4, and then there were
Hmm.
issues getting Tom Felton back and everything like that, and he just never came back to the show afterwards. Like I feel
Yeah.
like they would have been cool to see come back. But do they have powers? Are they speedsters? Are they, how are they fighting
Yeah.
crime, and where were they fighting crime? But I don't know. I think it could be fun.
Yeah, I think like the married part is I think where a lot of people are getting tripped up. And that's very random. It's definitely very strange. But I do think it could be cool in theory. Like I think the
Yeah.
idea of like I don't know, it's very like TV where it's like, oh, these two old love interests for different characters, now they're together and now it's awkward and
Bonding
yeah,
over their shared past experiences being friends of the Flash.
I wonder how they met because he went to London, right? He went to like
Yeah.
France or London or something.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so. And then Patty went to go to what, CSI school. So
something, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I always wanted Patty to come back. She was one of my favorite earlier characters.
hmm
Um, and I obviously wanted Barry and Iris to get together eventually. But
yeah, yeah.
we had heard that her time on the show was cut short.
Right,
She was supposed
right,
to stay
right.
until like the end of the season or something.
hmm hmm
Um, and like Hot Pursuit was something people wanted to see like forever. Like that's a
Right.
storyline people have been asking for. So I don't know. I would have. I don't know if it would have been in. You could have put her in like a crisis, or if you could have put her in like a something. I
Yeah.
wonder if they ever asked her and she just couldn't because of like filming and stuff, or
Right,
I don't
right.
know.
Or this was
Like
just a random idea on a board somewhere that
sure,
may or may not have ever happened.
I'll say I would rather an episode about them than like that Becky episode,
Oh yeah.
or
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
have it. I get it's hard because you had to build like new sets and stuff, but like have it take place in like a new city or something, and it's just their story. Like it doesn't even have to like connect to anything else. It's just them. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's a weird one, but it's definitely fun to think about. So back to Andy.
Yes.
So this is a topic I've been, I don't think I've talked about it on the show before, but it's definitely been a topic of conversation over the course of the last month or so. So what about 2 months ago or so, the rumor popped up that Andy would be directing the new Batman Brave and the Bold film. And when asked about it, he said, "I don't think I can talk about that yet." So what do you think about this?
I think that at the very least, he's, I guess, on the short list of directors that Warner Brothers would like to have direct the new Batman movie. I think from what I've heard, it seems like he does justice to the character of Batman in the Flash movies. So I will have to, I guess, reserve judgment until after I've seen the
Sure.
Flash. But if the Flash is as good as everybody says it is, I think that Andy is a great choice as a director. Again, if the Flash movie lives up to the hype that everybody else has been putting out for it, and I do actually think one thing that's pretty funny about that picture for Brave and the Bold that people keep throwing around, I did see
Yeah,
somebody on Twitter say that everybody is like,
Dick.
yeah, it's Dick Grayson as Batman and not Bruce Wayne, and I was like, that's actually quite hilarious that
Yeah,
everybody's just like just assuming it's Bruce, but I think
sure.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say I'm like super familiar with his work. I'm very excited, of course, to see this Flash movie if it's as good as
Right.
everyone is saying. Obviously, like with the like DCU, we are collecting a lot of like big names and big name directors. I already see the joke about people saying that this is his second Batman movie. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, again, I do agree with you. I think we do need to wait to see how this movie performs and how he handles two Batmans here, because and
Yeah.
maybe more Batman. And would make sense if he worked a lot with like the Batman actors and that world. Maybe he would be fit to take on a younger, I guess, middle-aged Batman. Um, I also saw some people pointing out that he directed it too, or is it or it too, where he works with a lot of kids. So maybe he's good with kids. He can work with Damien. Yeah, no, I could see that. Like, I think the Flash. I think Brave and the Bold is going to be a more sci-fi Batman movie. I think it's going to be more on the like fantasy side of that character. So I could see kind of what he did on the Flash movie carrying over pretty well.
Definitely. And then just keeping the Reeves Batman universe kind of the very grounded take on Batman. Yeah.
Absolutely. A stranger said that they preferred Patty and Barry over Barry and Iris. I feel like that's a big argument on the internet that I'm not getting into. I like both though, is what I'll say. And yeah, we had the gameplay and a trailer for Spider-Man 2.
Yes,
did
very
you watch
excited.
This?
Yes, I did. Very excited. They just like they had us with one image for like almost a year, and then they're like, "All right, 10 minutes of gameplay, go." This game looks incredible. I'm glad that they just showed off the symbiote suit like from the beginning too. They're like, "All right, yeah, this is a big part of the game."
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I'm playing Miles Morales right now, so obviously I'm not completely caught up with this franchise. But I'm very excited for this game. It looks a lot of fun. It looks just like a superheroes fans fantasy. I think that's kind of what the first one was. I'm very excited to be able to play Miles and Peter seemingly in the same game.
Yeah.
Which is very hyped. I don't know. I'm excited to play as Venom or like a Spider-Man Venom, like that, like everything with Venom just looks so much fun. And that entire like water sequence looks beautiful.
No, the water looks amazing. I know I saw somebody trying to start Puddlegate 2.0 basically. They were like, "Oh, the water doesn't stick to the suit or something like that." And people were like, "Dude, the game doesn't come out for like 8 months. Don't worry about it." Like the game looks beautiful and it looks truly like a next-gen game. I mean, Insomniac is my favorite game developer. They made Ratchet and Clank. I was, a massive fan of that series back in the day. That's my favorite game series, and which makes Insomniac my favorite developer. I loved the first game. I platinumed that in like 3 or 4 days right after it came out. I grinded through Miles Morales very quick as well. I'm like 1 or 2 trophies away from platinuming that, so I'll probably hop back in and get that done before this comes out. And I'm very excited. I love everything that Insomniac Games does, and you know, they are the right game studio to be developing this game, and I'm very excited for it.
Absolutely. I'm also very like this must be the year of Kraven as well, because I'll be honest, I had no idea Kraven was in this game. And I wouldn't say I'm like an expert on Kraven or anything, but I think he is among my favorite Spider-Man villains. I think he's just so much fun. And I do think he makes a lot of sense here, with such a massive cast of like, I don't know, very creepy and like very outlandish characters now in Spider-Man. I'm so excited for that. And then there's the movie as well that comes out sometime this year.
Yeah. I did actually see people talking about how when the first Spider-Verse came out, that was actually the same year that Spider-Man PS4 came out as well. And then now that Spider-Verse 2 is coming out and the second game is coming out, it's great. And also people are making the jokes that, Miles is just getting his butt kicked in every movie, like by Spider-Man 2099 in Spider-Verse. And then seems like we might get some Miles and Peter conflict here. With the black suit, so
yeah, no, I'm very excited. I think this is a big year for Miles. I think it's just a big year for Spider-Man. Of course, with these 3 projects coming out, and trying to think, is there anything else Spider-Man coming out? This game, a movie, and then 2 movies.
The controversial comic book.
Is
it? Where they killed Miss Marvel.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why you would do that in a Spider-Man comic, but hey,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not one to judge.
Takes me back to like 2018, where we had the first Spider-Man game, we had the first Spider-Verse movie, we had Infinity War, and then we had Spider-Verse as well, and that was a crazy year for Spider-Man as well. But yeah, with that being said, I think that's all the news I had. There's a lot here. We spent 40 minutes talking about all this stuff. But without further ado, let's move into the newest episode of Superman that's not Superman, of Superman and Lois. So this was obviously massive spoilers if you have not seen this episode of Superman and Lois, season 3, episode 10, where we're almost done with the season, and that makes me very, very sad. Directed by Elizabeth Humphrey, I think is how you pronounce her name, over from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you've watched that show, it's always great to have her. Do you know what? No, I actually lied. That was Gotham Knights. Never mind. She directed Gotham Knights this week.
Okay.
But what did you think of this episode of Superman and Lois?
I loved it. I mean, it was great. It had me hyped the entire time. I thought it was really good. I know a lot of people were saying that, last week was one of the best of the season. I think this one might have been one of the best of the season.
Oh, really?
Honestly, I mean, we didn't get too much Superman again, but I thought just like the character moments and everything like that were great in this one. We got to, I guess, kind of get some sort of resolution with Lois and everything like that. She, completed her chemo and, is back kind of, in the reporter mode. She seems, very happy and motivated and everything like that. And that was nice. It was good to see, I guess, Lois in a really good state this week. After, getting through everything that has happened this entire season. And I think Clark also had some really good moments. Not too many Superman moments, but some very good Clark moments as well. And man, I mean, if I was the Super Sons, I would have definitely hung out with Clark. I mean, come on, Superman's your dad. Like, don't go to some random party. Hang out. Go to the fake WWE match or whatever that was.
I will say, I think individual, like, I love these like small moments for Clark where he's just being like the absolute dork, and there's so many this week where he's like, hi, there's such like small moments, and him like geeking out over like wrestling.
Yeah,
that's why I love the show. I think that's really what made me fall in love with the show, outside of it just being a Superman show or being like an Arrowverse show. I think those moments with Clark Kent and Lois Lane, and just these amazing see a stranger, just these amazing characters. I love it so much. I will say, I think I do slightly disagree with you. Just on a personal note, I think it was my least favorite of the season, actually. Not because it was bad. I think it was still like, if this is your weakest, then you have a great season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I maybe it's just because last week I felt so much last week. I thought last week was the best of the season. I thought it was some of my favorite stuff of the whole show. Then maybe some of the like teenage stuff this week kind of got to me just a little bit. Obviously I'm very much on board with like teenage stuff. I like the very rom-com-y type storytelling that these shows tell a lot. I do just think, from contrast from last week, it did dip just a little bit for me. But as we kind of jump in here, we open the episode with Lois officially being done with cancer, or being done with chemo. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And her ringing the bell. And, I've talked a lot about on here where a lot of people are not loving the tone and the style and how dark it really is. But I think these last 2 episodes have like cemented, I guess, kind of like bringing the hope back into Lois's situation. Yeah. And it feels like we're slowly getting to a point where she's slowly getting better and she's slowly overcoming, which is obviously a really good contrast to Pia this week,
right?
Where it's the opposite, where she's not doing well. She's on death's door, I guess. And the contrast of how both of these characters have handled these situations was quite interesting. What did you think about the moments between Lois and Pia? Because I think that did take up a lot of this episode.
Yeah, I thought that those were some of the strongest parts of the episode. It just, Lois got right back into, investigative reporter mode, and she was, appealing to kind of like the friendship there, just trying to, get to the bottom of everything, trying to get Pia to actually, confess to what she is kind of, believing now, is that obviously her and Bruno had something to do with the Moxie murder and framing Lex, and all of this is kind of coming to a head here now. And I think that this was like a very big like culmination episode. Like a lot of the different storylines kind of like came to a head in this one. We got a lot of reveals and everything like that. And just also the way that they were talking about Lex and the way that Pia seemed
Yes.
very afraid of Lex and that he's like an actual threat. And she's like, "Hey, don't go down this investigative route. Don't pry any further. Like Lex is in prison. He's done some bad stuff. He deserves to be there." And I thought that was a very interesting take on that as well.
Yeah, no, I'm loving what they're doing with Lex. This is one of the like situations where I almost wish I didn't know about Lex. Like I wish I knew nothing about the character whatsoever, because I think as like a new fan just watching this outside of knowledge about any other Lex Luthor and who he is, they're doing a fantastic job of building up like Lex as a monster, as this
Oh
terrible,
yeah.
scary being. And I think, for 3 seasons straight, we've had, slow mentions of Lex Luthor, and especially this season. And you could definitely tell the fear in Pia, where she knows what can and will happen if Lex goes free. She's in danger. Her son's probably in immediate danger. Her husband's probably in danger. And I do wonder, like this. I think we may have talked about this before, but I do wonder if Lex is going to be the one to kill Pia. I wonder if he's going, like,
Mm.
if that's where because I'll be honest, I did not think she would last this long. Like I thought episodes ago we would have either she ends up killing herself by like overloading herself, or something happens that she dies. But what happens in this episode kind of does the opposite effect seemingly.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm curious, and I know a lot of people have been very much like, where is Lex Luthor? Where is he? And we're heading into the final bits. Like it doesn't seem like it's next week. We have 3 episodes left.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's not too much time left in this season. I mean, we got to this point very quickly, I feel like.
We did. This season has just gone so fast. Like it's been such a fast ride.
I guess that's definitely very good compared to previous seasons where they took like, half a year with with how many
Sure.
breaks they
Yeah.
took and everything like that. I definitely give them credit for, not taking nearly as many breaks this year.
Sure. I also want to say, like, I love the like friendship of Lois and Pia, because I think
Mm-hmm.
they both, like, when she comes in and they're both just talking, and like they're clearly friends and they care about each
Right.
other very deeply, despite what happened between them. Like they obviously have this anger and this beef, um, but like they still love each other in like a weird way, and they still care about each other. And even like towards the end, where like she's like carrying Lois out and she like has her hostage almost, like there still feels like there's a bit of love on both
Right.
sides, of Lois being like, you don't have to do this, the Pia being like, I hate that I have to do this, but it's what I have to do here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've done a really great job on just characters this season. Like I feel like Pia, Bruno, Mateo all kind of feel like they've been here all like the whole show. Like I feel like they kind of fit in with all the other characters.
Yeah, no, they've definitely done a really good job of building the I guess the villainous side this season, but also kind of humanizing them in many ways. And I think definitely having Lois's friendship here with Pia definitely makes at least the audience kind of sympathize with her, sympathize with Bruno a lot more than you would have if there was not that, I guess, friendly interaction between them. If it was all just kind of like, fighting back and forth, trying to expose people, that type of thing. There wouldn't be as much, I guess, emotional weight when obviously, Pia has to get out of there if she wants to, I guess, get away from Lex. And I think that it's also very interesting that somebody who is as powerful as Onomatopoeia is actually afraid of just a man.
Yeah.
So I think that also kind of shows just I guess, the fear that Lex Luthor in this universe kind of instills in everybody.
Sure. Obviously we've been building up to this potential cure for Pia's cancer. We set up either last week or the week before that whatever is in Bizarro Superman might have the cure to save her life and
Mm-hmm.
save cancer. And we did see this episode, Mateo going in and giving her the cure. What did you think about all this? Were you satisfied with us kind of like wrapping up this cancer storyline for Pia?
Well, I did think it was interesting because we obviously saw Lois go through the very grounded version of that.
Hmm.
She had her, her chemo throughout, episode by episode and everything like that, and she finally, finished that. And then her final step is obviously the surgery that's coming up for her as well. And then we saw Pia like kind of go through that same process, but then in the end, they just kind of like magical cure. Like
Yeah,
that was a little, I was like, okay, like obviously that's what they were building towards, and I guess it also kind of makes that I guess the moral dilemma there too is,
sure.
if there is this cure that actually works, why didn't we use it, number one, on Lois, but why don't we use it in all the patients at Hobbs Bay? That type of thing as well. I
Yeah,
think that that'll be very interesting. I'm not sure if that'll play into the last few episodes here. And I guess it's also going to, we're going to have to see if this cure actually sticks, or if it's just a temporary fix, kind of like we've seen with Adam Man, I guess, in the previous few episodes this season as well.
sure. Yeah, no, I definitely think it adds, and I think we talked about this before, but it adds a really nice parallel between
Mm-hmm.
Bruno and Clark. Clark potentially having a cure for Lois, but he can't use it because it's not morally right, and Bruno being like, "Yeah, I found this thing. Let's just do it." Um, and yeah, no, I'm going to be very curious. And we talked about a bunch like, should we just have a cure for cancer? Like, should we do this when we don't have one in real life? Should that be a storyline we're telling? But it definitely seems like it's going to lead to a situation where, like, oh yeah, this is a bad thing. We don't really have a cure for cancer. Um, and like that's a really good point. Does this like ultimately kill her? Like, does this like have some terrible
Right.
consequences? Does it turn her into like a Bizarro or something, like something weird like that? I also wonder what was in Bizarro they used because they didn't explain that. I wonder if I want to get to like that character soon because we've had him for like a good 5 episodes now. We haven't done
Right.
much with him.
He's just been laying
Um,
there, just hanging
yeah,
around.
yeah. Are we at all? Like I feel like some people would be kind of disappointed if we don't have any Bizarro this season. What did he take from him that is he still
Right.
like alive at all? Is he capable of doing anything, or is it the blood? Like I'm going to be very curious if they explain any of that. Um, and how long it takes Superman to catch on as well.
Right, right. I think it will also be very interesting to see like if this cure ultimately doesn't work, that maybe it shows it's like okay, there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. And Bruno went the, I guess, quote unquote easy route, and that was obviously the wrong road to take. And then obviously also kind of, going back to Lois, taking the more, the standard approach, the very realistic approach. I feel like that's going to, at the end of the day, be presented as the right way to go, just because this show has been very respectful of the storyline the entire season.
Yeah,
I feel like they've done it justice, and they wouldn't just kind of throw that all away at the end and just say, "Oh, hey, magical cure." Don't
yeah,
worry about it. So I think that there's going to be some sort of caveat here to that cure that Bruno has made.
yeah. No, I'm very curious, kind of where we're taking. I guess ultimately Bruno and Pia in these final episodes because they're finally out as like fugitives, I guess, right? Like this kind of like cemented Pia as like, oh yeah, a criminal now. She killed all these people and she escaped from a government facility and yeah, no, I'm curious what their final acts of the plan are because like we were wondering even if Bruno would have been the main villain this season, and it's very clear he is by this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is this where he lets out Bizarro and uses him as like his like hunch dog to take down Superman? I have no idea. I'm very curious. I have no idea where these final couple are going. Um, do you have any final thoughts on this whole like Lois Lane storyline here before we move
Just
on?
that it's good to see her, I guess, back in her element this week, and I thought that that was very nice to have, and just kind of having her come out on the other side of this diagnosis
Yeah,
stronger. It seems like so.
absolutely. I think they've done a pretty good job at doing Lois this season and her like journalism stuff because last season was a bit hit or miss with Lois Lane
Right.
and season one did a good job a lot of the time, but then there'd be episodes with nothing, and I think there's been a good balance between this character storyline and also her just being like a really good reporter. So kind of moving to the other side of it, Clark, which again, not very much Clark this week, very little Superman, which again, I already know people are going to hate that there was no Superman. I barely notice most of the time. It was a little I think it wasn't noticeable there wasn't Superman. It wasn't noticeable that there was less Clark this week because there was a lot less of it. Like it feels like Lois was the main character here.
Oh yeah.
And not Clark, and that's fine, obviously. But I did notice it a little bit here than I did in past weeks. But Clark was just being a father this week, which I love. We don't normally see that in superhero shows. Flash would never. But it was very nice to see him trying to like connect with his boys. He has like a day off. He's trying to hang with them. And they're like, no, Dad, you suck. I want to go drinking and all that stuff. What did you feel about Clark here?
No, I mean, I think he's trying his best. He's got some free time. He wants to hang out with his kids and everything, and they're just doing typical kid things. They're playing knockoff Madden, and then they decide to just go to some random party and just leave him behind. But like like I mentioned earlier, come on, if Superman was my dad, I'd definitely go hang out with him. Over just going to some random party.
Sure.
Shout out, Dad. Dad's great.
Yeah, no, Clark's a great father, man. And it definitely makes me wonder what like celebrity kids are like. Like I've obviously never met one, but like I wonder how I would feel about my mom if she was like Beyonce or something, But like, yeah, their father is literally Superman, and they don't care. And I think that's an interesting angle to look at. But no, I felt very bad for Clark. I thought Clark had so many fun little lines and dialogues, and just seeing like that's what this show was about. Like originally, the show was about Clark balancing his family life with the superhero life, and I think they've done a good job at keeping that throughout all 3 seasons. Like it has like a lot of times the pitch or like the show, like what it's originally about, is not what it's about 3, 4, 5 seasons later, and they've been pretty consistent with that, I think.
Oh yeah. I think that's a really good point to bring up, and I didn't really think about that, but yeah, you're right. Is that they've stayed true to the original idea and conception of the show. So I think that's a great thing, especially 3 seasons in, and I don't see them deviating from that anytime soon.
Sure. Obviously another kind of with that arc is these boys going to a party, and they kind of both go on into their separate storylines. Jonathan meets up with Candace, and they kind of just make out the whole episode. Jonathan didn't do much here, but I'll be honest, I thought they broke up like 3 episodes ago. Like I completely forgot they didn't break up here.
Yeah, no, they're trying the long distance thing, I guess. It seems like. Because Jonathan's got the truck.
I think if any family can do it, it's that one.
Yeah,
I mean, your brother could just fly you if you're careful enough. But but yeah, obviously, I think some of the stuff I wasn't a big fan of was the Jordan and Sarah stuff this week. I normally, again, I love Jordan, I love Sarah, but I thought Jordan's bickering back and forth did feel very. I don't like keep saying like CW, but it was very CW. It was very. I think with a show with such responsible writing and clever writing that often avoids these stereotypical trends, sometimes it's a little frustrating when they really do kind of go down these routes that I'm just particularly not a huge fan of. Did you like that stuff here?
I felt like it was something that we had already addressed earlier in the season. Like I thought that they had kind of already come to this agreement, like, hey, we're just gonna, chill, kind of go our separate ways. We're still buddies, but like, nothing else. And then obviously this is still, I guess, in the back of Jordan's mind. He's just, sure. I don't know. I kind of thought that they had kind of gotten through that.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of confused as to why they keep bringing it back up. Maybe they just don't know what else to do with these 2 characters. But I think actually the friendship that has grown between Jonathan and Sarah has been a lot better than this just like I guess you're right, just kind of like bickering back and forth between Jordan and Sarah. It's just kind
Yeah.
of like, and then that kind of comes back, I guess, when he, eventually saves her later on in the episode, and just kind of like that's just kind of like a final like, yeah, I still got powers. Peace, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of thought we were trying to move on from Sarah, especially, Sarah and Jonathan, especially if we do move cities next year. And it kind of felt like we were maybe bridging the path of these two characters, separating them out just a little bit. Um, I don't know. I want to see where we're going. Do they end the season together again? Does Jordan finally need to understand, like, hey, we're broken up? Sarah's maybe looking into other guys. Sarah's allowed to do that, and I love the idea of building a storyline where Jordan has to get over his love, and has to follow in like the footsteps of Lana and Clark as well, because I thought that was a really fun idea.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that, I mean, as long as Jordan kind of, realizes like, hey, this is not going to happen, he needs to just focus his attention on training, focus his attention on, being Superboy and everything like that. And I guess, find his new purpose in being Superboy and everything like that. I think that's really the direction that he needs to go from it. And I feel like that's kind of where they're trying to take the story, is that, he needs to just like, disconnect from that side of things. And, maybe focus just a little bit more on, I guess, family stuff and just, Superboy stuff.
Sure. Lex Luthor sounds badass as Superman and Lois. He does. I hope we get to see him soon. Hi, Miata. How's it going?
Hello.
Let's jump over to Kyle, because Kyle kind of blends into this. You know what? Never mind. Let's talk about Sarah. And we slightly talked about that, but she, I liked Sarah quite a bit this week. I think her stuff felt pretty natural. She's been talking to George, and obviously Jordan doesn't know if they're like a couple or if they're flirting or whatever, and he's obviously got really jealous. But what did you think of like their car accident scene? So obviously their party got like raided. And there's a really cool looking like car flip as they crashed into like a deer. That looked kind of expensive.
Yeah, I thought that they did a really good job with the effects on that and everything. And I was like, when they were driving down there, I was like, oh, they're gonna wreck, aren't they? And Jordan's gonna have to come save them.
Yeah.
And then kind of just like a sort of like a I told you so kind of thing. So I don't know. I think that was kind of fun to actually have him come in and just do his Superboy thing. We kind of got to see the suit a little bit more as well, which I thought was kind of nice.
Sure.
But yeah, just. That was that was a storyline in the episode. And that's pretty much my opinion on that.
Which it obviously crossed over with this Kyle storyline, which
yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm very frustrated with Kyle, because Kyle is so weird, because it's like Whiplash every other episode. I never know if I like this character or not. Like you start the show really hating him, and then by the end you love him. And then he cheats and you hate him. And then by the end of the season, into this season, he's a great father. He's a great guy. And then now we're giving him a story where he's trying to like hunt our main characters. And like, that never makes us like those characters. Like, we always want them to not find out who we are. And I don't know, was he drunk this week? Because like towards the end of the episode, it kind of felt like he was like drunk,
No, I think he was just, he felt like he saw something that nobody else did, and nobody was believing him that, hey, there's a story here, there's something going on. And I thought it was actually nice how they wrapped it up very quickly. Is there wasn't, this extended thing of like, oh, the Kents do suspicious things and Kyle's the only one that sees like, oh my God, they have powers or something like that. And then, everybody's like, oh, what are you talking about? You're crazy. Sure. But I think it was nice that they finally, I guess he was kind of on that list of people that eventually needed to find out. Like,
sure,
everybody else kind of knew. He just kind of needed to be let in on that secret if he's going to, I guess, continue to be in this, immediate circle around them.
Yeah, sure. Like it's been a topic of like, oh yeah, he's kind of the only cast member who doesn't know. And obviously, yeah, he does find out by the end of the episode. Clark kind of like flies up right in front of him, which I was very shocked. I didn't think we would do it that way. Kind of felt a little Flash to me. where it's like let's reveal it to everybody. But no, I thought I'll be honest, I'm not a huge I like it in superhero stuff, but I am a little tired in TV shows of like secret identities because I just think it adds a lot. Like it's like, all right, yeah, we have to hide it again, and we have to hide all these secrets, and I think just from like a show standpoint, it can get a little repetitive, and I'm not a huge fan of it. So I do like when all the cast eventually knows our heroes.
Right.
So I'm not against it or anything. I was just a little shocked of how Clark told Kyle, I guess.
Yeah, no, I was thinking when I was watching that scene, I was like, oh, he's just gonna know because he kind of bounced off of him basically when he was trying to walk
Oh yeah,
through
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the powers there. But no, Clark made it very obvious. He's like, I got stuff to do. I'm gonna fly away. Bye.
Yeah, no, and next week seems like it's going to be the aftermath of that, and him being angry at Chrissy, and I assume Lana and Sarah about
Mm-hmm.
not knowing, and I don't think that will help Kyle's case of me liking him. We'll see. We'll definitely see. Let me read some of these comments real quick. Of course, everyone talking about the whole Lex Luthor thing. Yeah, I think everyone's just really ready to see Lex.
Yeah.
And I hope we really get to see how terrible he is. Like, I want him to do some evil stuff. Really dominate the scenes, I think, would be kind of cool. I don't think we have enough time, but I would love, maybe if it's next season, like a whole episode where it's just Lex. Like a whole, like, through the history of Lex could be really cool. Like, we go back to, and we get to see that, like, old suit again, and young Lois and Clark, and I don't know. I think that could be kind of cool.
That would be very fun if we got like a whole flashback Lex episode, like of the very early days, before obviously he went to prison and everything like that. But just very very early days Metropolis Lex would be very cool.
That's right. Sophie doesn't know.
That's true. That's true.
I think she's good. Although I would feel bad for her actually if she might have some issues.
I think what would actually be the funniest thing is if she just knows. And then, Kyle's just, mad about something or whatever, and he just like talks about it, and she's like, "Oh, you didn't know that? I figured it out before anybody even told me."
That'd be funny. Yeah.
I'm just here in the background. Don't worry about me.
Yeah, but like all the series regulars now know, I think.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else? I think that's it. I mean, I guess besides like Bruno and Pia and stuff, but
I'd be hard pressed to find out that Bruno doesn't know that Clark is Superman. There's no way he doesn't. He's got Bizarro's body. So
just put glasses on him.
Oh my god, it's Superman.
That'd be really funny. Is that one I didn't talk about? I didn't mention Lana, which Lana had an arc. I guess not an arc, but a storyline about meeting with the governor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of Lana and Chrissy are like dealing with that like love triangle storyline, and I kind of liked this for her. I will say I really enjoyed them like having a thing around the like destruction of a thing. Like in superhero shows we don't normally get.
Yeah.
Like they normally just like, oh, this thing is gone. We are now forgetting about it. So
yeah, no, it was nice to see them actually kind of like address the aftermath of the, giant battle in the main streets of Smallville there.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like he doesn't know. So
yeah,
I'll be curious. He should know if he has the body, but oh well. And yeah, that's all I really have for Superman Lois this week. I'm excited going into these next couple of weeks and to see where we go, I guess.
Yeah, it's very very interesting. The Mannheims have been reunited, and Bruno, I guess technically like brought their son into the family business as well.
Yeah.
So I guess there's it seems like there's gonna be some conflict there. I guess now maybe between Mateo and Natalie, possibly, just because obviously they're now on opposite sides. That might be something that they explore in the last few episodes as well.
Sure. I wonder what we're doing with him. Like, he seems like a character that could, like, I can't see Bruno and Pia going into season 4, but I could see maybe Mateo transferring over, especially if we move to like Metropolis.
Right.
So
just, I guess depending on what happens to his parents, he could potentially be some sort of an antagonist. You know,
Oh, interesting.
something I thought we would see more of going into the season when they first released the trailers, was just like the team up between the kids, just having Jordan as Superboy, Natalie and her steel suit and everything like that. I thought we'd get more of them, like taking on like smaller threats and things.
Sure.
It would be very interesting if they, kind of team up and like maybe Mateo is their villain for next season.
Mm.
And then we have, Lex is obviously Superman and Lois's villain, but then,
Yeah.
mini Bruno Mannheim is the kid's villain or something. That'd be kind of
He
interesting.
like funds them.
Yeah.
Here's a robo suit. Yeah. Yeah, I want to usually do this after we talk about all the shows, but honestly, I want to jump into the Superman and Lois promo really quick because I
Okay.
do think it leads into some of this conversation. So yeah, if you guys don't want to know about the promo, you can leave. You can mute it for 20 seconds. But yeah, here we go.
Mateo was gone. He made his choice.
Can't just turn my back on someone I love because they made a mistake.
I thought we were friends.
So did I. You lied to me.
I didn't have a choice.
She's gonna bring down the whole block. We need to stop her.
I'm working on it.
Onomatopoeia, the dubstep machine. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. No, it definitely seems this episode is going to be a straight continuation from a lot of the drama and the situations that we are seeing this past episode. Start off from the beginning. I like seeing Natalie in the suits. We haven't seen her in the suit we've seen her in it twice, three times.
Yeah, some like very early on. I think the last time was like when they stole the truck back.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I mean, I get it. I get it's hard to have like 5 superheroes. I'd rather them not do superhero stuff than have like Team Superman or whatever,
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess the suit's fixed now too. So
yes.
Just in time for these final 3 episodes. His suit goes through the same stuff that like the striped suit went through on Stargirl, where they had to have it like be knocked out for like 5-6 episodes part of the season.
I mean, it can't be easy to put that armor on. It's suiting up like Master Chief basically.
Yeah. Do we think we'll get the cape this season?
I would love the cape. I hope so. Or like, maybe an upgrade to the helmet or something like that too would be cool. But maybe something that I guess goes against that is the fact that he, just killed a dude. maybe he's not ready for a cape just yet. Maybe he needs to do some more heroic stuff to earn that cape. But we'll see. So
let me see here. I want to see here what they say here.
Can't just turn my back on someone.
Interesting. Where do we think they are here? Is this in their little like facility?
Possibly. Or it looks like later in the trailer, honestly, that Pia goes back to the DOD, possibly.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's in the lab. It looks like. Okay.
Interesting.
So maybe her powers might be on the fritz after getting the cure back, or getting the cure in this episode. So
sure,
maybe what we were talking about earlier comes into play here, is that maybe with that cure, maybe it makes her powers just kind of go crazy, and she's just kind of maybe at an uncontrollable state, possibly.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm very curious where we just take these villains in these final 3, because it feels like they gotta really be, going into their like end game. I don't know. Do they try to like run away, or do they try to take out Superman? Like,
well, it's just I still think it's very interesting that with how powerful Pia seems to be, that they're still like afraid of Lex and all these people, because it seems like Pia almost killed John Henry Irons in his steel suit.
Yeah.
If Superman didn't intervene and stuff like that. So she's very powerful, but I guess it just kind of boils down to how much control of that power does she actually have.
Sure. Yeah, we don't really know the origins of her powers, I guess, so it's hard to say how much time she's used them. I mean, it seems like she's used them a good bit, but
Right. And I guess also the other question is too is if they're genetic. Does Mateo potentially have the possibility of
ah,
having powers similar or just powers in general?
sure. Yeah, it's hard to say because we don't know if there was like a particle accelerator. If like, where is she just a meta? Is she?
Hmm.
Is it science experiments? We don't really know. And we are continuing this like Romeo and Juliet arc with Natalie and Mateo. Um, she still wants to save him, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that shot of Lana? I was very curious about that shot. So Lana seems very depressed here.
Yeah, I
What do we
think
think's
she's just kind
happening
of,
here?
I guess, just reeling with everything that happened last week. Like, I mean, Sarah definitely got into quite a bit of trouble, and that's
Sure.
obviously going to be pretty stressful. And maybe if that gets out, that could, I guess, be stressful on just her as the mayor as well. Or maybe this is also after, I guess, Kyle probably comes in as like, hey, you didn't tell me about all the Superman stuff, and that's probably a pretty stressful situation as well.
Sure. I wonder if something happens with like the governor because she was kind of gossiping about her at the end of the episode with
Right.
like could her job be in danger? I don't know. Good to see good old Superman back. We got this back and forth between Jordan and Sarah, which we'll see.
We shall see.
Yeah, I won't nag on that anymore. I've done enough of
No,
that.
I mean, here's the thing. I thought that they worked well in the past couple of seasons. Interestingly, I guess when she didn't know about his powers, and ever since the power reveal, it's kind of been just weird.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm just not really sure the direction that they're trying to take the two of them. But Superman and Lois has never steered me wrong before, so I have faith that
Sure.
it'll end in a decent way at least.
Yeah, I honestly don't know where we're ending those characters. Like, are we getting like rebuilding them, getting back together, or fully separating? I don't know. Is that Pia?
Yes.
Yeah. Her head's been like worrying me. Like her head's been like rumbling. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, with just like the shockwave of the powers and everything like that, and you just hear it kind of being more intense, and they just like keep playing that like dubstep vibration.
Yeah, I'm afraid her brain's gonna like pop. Like I don't want it to like blow up on her.
Just like a power overload, possibly.
Yeah, like in some way, shape, or form, I don't think she makes it out of the season. I'm just going through all these different like, does she do it to herself? Does Lex do it? Does something with Superman do it? Like I have no idea. And then just this Kyle, like seems like he's gonna be going to all these different people, being like, "You didn't tell me." Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if he'll give Jonathan his job back though.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about him thinking it was Jonathan, which I guess kind of
that was a weird line. I thought I was like, did he just say the wrong kid? Because it sounded like he was coming after Jordan originally, and then he said Jonathan. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I heard a lot of people theorize that he would think it was Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly surprised it didn't last longer. Like I thought we may have had like a whole episode him like, I don't know, going after Jonathan or like hunting Jonathan. This is a pretty shot, actually. It's kind of pretty.
Yeah.
More Sam Lane. I feel like we haven't seen much of Sam this season. Just kind of little stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Sam is a character I'm kind of worried about because I think eventually he won't have stuff to do. I think I could see him becoming like a Joe character where like he's there for your pep talk or like the like nice moment, but that's all they have.
Yeah, I wonder if the Metropolis move would cause him to be there more or less.
Sure.
Because I'm not really sure where the DoD is in relation to Smallville.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just kind of just random building.
that is true. I wouldn't think Sam would be affected if the show moved, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the characters in question, I think would be the Kents, obviously, and
Mhm.
then maybe the Irons. But I could see the Irons just like, all right, we'll
Yeah.
come with you.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, there's nothing really for us to do in Smallville now.
Sure. All right, we're about an hour and a half in already. Let's talk about Gotham Knights. The only time I really talk about Gotham Knights on here anymore is when Taz is here, just because I normally don't have a lot to say about the show. As much as I am enjoying the show, I'm having a pretty good time with it currently. What did you think of season 1, episode 10 of Gotham Knights?
I thought it was another really solid episode. Like this show has been, I think it's been very consistent, at least to say the least about it. It's been very consistent week to week. It always kind of adds something new to the mystery and throws a new twist or turn at you. And I thought that this episode had a lot of like really big moments, similar to Superman and Lois. There were a lot of big reveals and everything like that. We explored the Harvey and Two-Face story quite a bit, and we almost kind of got to a resolution of the Knights, on the run and everything like that. But things didn't necessarily go to plan there.
Yeah, no, I think what's really turning me in week to week is just these characters. Like I think they've done a really good job at, this plot is obviously nothing new. It's nothing fresh. I think the overall arcing story doesn't interest me that much, but I think these characters are very charming and they're very fun to watch week to week. And I think these last two have really like cemented that for me, where I'm just having a lot of it is very much team drama, especially this last one. Like there was a lot of all that kind of fun stuff, and we'll obviously talk about that. But no, I think they're all very charming. I think these actors have done a really good job at working with what they're given. And a lot of times you don't see that, but I think you have a lot of good actors here, and I think they're really giving their all. Even if what's not on the script is maybe not what a lot of people have or want from these characters, I guess.
Yeah, I would definitely say the characters and the character building is one of the strongest aspects of the show, and everybody has definitely grown into their character very well. Like it started off a little rocky, I feel like, especially in the pilot, but just as the show has progressed, I feel like they've just definitely gotten more comfortable in the roles, and that has definitely translated on screen just with like their interactions, their banter back and forth. They're definitely starting to feel kind of like this like mishmash family that's just kind of brought together just because the just random circumstances, but it's fun, and it's fun to see them all interact and stuff week to week.
I agree. I think they like threw down the like found family stuff this week, and I was like, all right, I get it, like that's kind of cute. I'm a big sucker of like a found family story. I really am. Why I love Legends, or loved Legends, I guess. Why I love like Doom Patrol and all that jazz. Pretty close promo, pretty close. But no, I think this week I did really enjoy them all. Like you felt like they all really cared when Turner is like about to die in like 6 hours, like he's about to expire. And you feel the worry and the pain, and obviously I think a big step up this week was Duella, which I think I think she was always kind of my favorite character, but I think she has really turned into this role. I think she's really making that her all. And I think at first she really was like an Alice ripoff or like a Harley Quinn ripoff, but I think I almost like her more than Alice now. I might like her a little bit more. Like weirdly enough.
Yeah, no, I definitely like where Duella has progressed as a character. I think they're definitely doing that classic, I guess, redemption arc type of thing, where she seemed to only care about herself and everything right at the beginning, and then now, as she's grown with the team, that she's kind of felt like, oh, I need to actually be a part of this. I need to actually contribute to the team, and she has a stake in everything now. And it really, I guess, came to the forefront with Turner, being captured by the court and then Turner almost dying and everything. I think that kind of pushed her over the edge in that aspect as well.
Sure. Yeah, sure. I think it's definitely like they're very like these past two, they've definitely pushed the I guess the love story between Turner and Duella, like ultimately ending this episode with them like making out, which we talked about like episode 2. They're like, oh, are we building to like a son of Batman, daughter of Joker thing? Which it's very silly on paper, I think, but like I think it works. Like it's kind of fun to watch these two kind of like her lighten up and him darker down just a little bit, and them kind of like meet in the middle. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I think that's actually it's been interesting to see play out, because it's like you said, it was something that we thought was just like a joke early on in the season, and then as it progressed, and then it was really the party episode that I was like, oh, they're doing this. I was like, oh, they're doing this, aren't they? And then when he was captured and everything, and Duella was like going crazy, she's like, okay, yeah, we got to get Turner back. I was like, okay, yeah, I see what's going on.
Yeah, no, I think like each episode really up until last week, where I was still like each character is about to make out with everyone. I felt like this week they finally singled down, okay, this person's with this person and this person's with this person. Obviously with Sophie and Carrie. No, Sophie and help me out here. Stephanie, yes. They've been building those two up for the last two, and I thought they've been pretty cute as well. I think they've been, very CW, very will they, won't they. And this week, as they didn't confront it themselves, it seemed like she confronted something in herself, and like her own sexuality, and that we kind of nipped the bud between Turner and Sophie as well. Where it's like, okay, yeah, that doesn't seem like that's going to be happening anytime soon.
Right, yeah.
So I would assume most people's favorite part of this episode was probably the Harvey Dent and Two-Face stuff, which really came to a head this week. It's been, again, one of my favorite parts of this show. I think this actor is killing it. I think he's a fantastic Two-Face, to the point where I would watch a show with just him as Two-Face. Like, I think if the show was just called like Harvey Dent or something, I'd watch it for sure. What did you think of all of his stuff here?
Well, what if the show was called Big Dent Energy? No, I thought it was great. I thought everything with Harvey was great this week. This has been something, again, that they've been building towards all season. I mean, going back to the pilot, my original theory was that under the influence of the court, Harvey's Two-Face personality is the one that killed Bruce. We still don't know if that's the case. It possibly could be the case. We got some more, I guess, evidence as to another person that could have been the one that actually, killed Bruce all the way back in that first episode. But I thought just Harvey, I guess, confronting this other side of himself, really, I guess, learning truly what was going on there was great to see. And I loved all of the interactions. I think, again, Misha Collins did great, just like playing off the two different versions of himself. And then we even got to hear that little, I guess, like Court of Owls theme play under their conversations as well, which was the tone that they used to, I guess, kind of activate him and everything. I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah, no. I thought, I think his stuff with just his Harvey stuff. So like, all right, this is pretty good. It's pretty fun. But I think him getting to tap into that like villain side of him, the Two-Face side of him was really good. Like I'm excited to see, what seems like more of that coming out within these next couple of episodes heading into the finale, because we do know he's going to be wearing the makeup and stuff at some points in the season, or something's happening with his face. So I wonder how much of that is like a cliffhanger, or whatever, going into season 2, or would these final 3 really embrace the like Two-Face persona?
Oh yeah, no, I can see it now. The series ends, Harvey gets acid thrown in his face, Turner turns over the body, and he's like, Harvey, no. Just like the Batman the Animated Series.
Sure.
We're gonna get to that eventually. I'm calling it now.
Let's talk about the Brody stuff and the stuff with his father. Did you like Brody as like a character?
No, I didn't care. I didn't care about Brody at all. I thought he was just like a random throwaway side character,
Yeah.
and he was just being dumb the entire time. He's like, "Oh, my dad's a murderer. I didn't know that."
I
don't
loved
know.
one of my issues was them talking this like not quietly either. Him and Sophie in just broad daylight, where clearly anyone can be listening. I was just waiting for like a sniper to come up and shoot either Sophie or Brody. um, no, I thought Brody was the most basic character ever, and maybe if we would have, I guess we still kind of could, because I was a little confused by the ending.
Okay, I
Um,
think I kind of figured
Okay.
out what's going on. If you want to just fast
Okay,
forward to
go
the
ahead.
ending, and then we'll come back
Yeah,
to
go
other
ahead.
stuff later. So I feel like Rebecca March has been suspicious this entire time. Like I've always thought something is up. I thought maybe she knew about Lincoln's involvement with the courts, but it seems like she might be the one that's actually running the show here. It seems like she might be calling the shots. Brody confronts her and is like, "Hey, Mom, we got to get out of here. Dad's kind of crazy. He's the leader of the Court of Owls," and she's like,
Yeah.
you know, call an ambulance, but not for me. And then just stabs her own son. I'm like, oh, okay, that was crazy. And I was like, did she just like kill him? And then Lincoln comes in and he's like, what'd you do here? We didn't have to do that. And then he's in this weird looking coffin at the end, and Lincoln touches it and Brody wakes up.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna make him the next Talon.
Mm-hmm.
I think since Turner didn't, I guess, take the court up on that offer, they're just going to turn him into to the Talon because they have the Electrum. They can do that. I think that would be interesting. I know something that we talked about before the stream even started were those posters that they released, and there was like this shadowy figure behind Duella, and everybody was like, "Oh, is that the Talon?" It didn't really look like the Talon that we had seen previously, so I think that it could be Brody Talon, as we'll call him now.
Sure, that's definitely a possibility. I'll be very curious because I really did appreciate them like killing off a kid in this episode. Like that's very dark and it's very serious, and I think it does bring to life how messed up and dark and terrible Gotham is like parents are just killing their children for their underground organization. I really like that. And then they brought him back at the end. I was like, really? Like I would have liked that to stay permanent. But if that's true and they are using him as like their evil like guard dog, or I think that could add to like the darkness and like the grittiness of Gotham. I'd be very for that. So I do want to talk about Batman a little bit because we were talking a little bit about it over on Twitter. I really liked last week's episode, but one of the things I was very weird about, and again, didn't hate it because I do think that there is a story we're telling with this. I think you're absolutely right, but I think the way that they have at least portrayed Batman so far is a little weird. It feels, if we don't do any like retconning and we don't take a couple of steps back, I will not be happy with how they have been handling Batman.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from with this. I kind of felt the same way up until we actually had Carrie say, like, okay, Batman does not kill. Like, that was good in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, the writers know. Like,
okay.
they're on the same page as us, and I think that's was a very nice, just like a nice sentiment there to say, hey, Batman doesn't kill. We're gonna just put that out there. But what I think is really going on here, again, like you were saying, we were discussing this on Twitter. I think it's a very Star Wars from a certain point of view thing. I feel like Bruce feels responsible for the death of Turner's parents, most likely at the hands of the court. Maybe it was Lincoln who killed them. Maybe it was Rebecca now that, is just as bad, if not worse, than Lincoln. So, I feel like there's something there. Bruce feels responsible for their deaths. and feels that he has killed them in a way because he failed to save them. I think
Sure.
that's the route that I think they're taking.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely very like that's where I'd want to take it, and honestly, that's probably where I would take it too. I think that's a really fun storyline. I think we could dive into. I just think after both Titans and like the Arrowverse and what they did with Batman, there is like definitely a concern for me. Is like stop doing this with Batman. And like it'd be great if like after everything, if Gotham Knights was the most loyal to Batman and had the most like respect put on Batman.
I mean, they wanted Jensen Ackles as Batman, and he's been
Yeah.
great in the animated stuff. So if they get a season, okay, imagine they get a season 2, and they just somehow bring in Jensen Ackles Batman.
Yeah.
Like they revive Bruce with the Lazarus Pit, or they
Sure.
use Electrum or something like that. Because do you care if I do spoilers for the Gotham
ahead.
Knights game?
I'm probably not going to play it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of the Gotham Knights game, it's like revealed that the League of Assassins have a big play in all of this, and we get to the secret Lazarus Pit under Gotham City that you can access like kind of through the Batcave. It was really weird. Talia al Ghul was in there as well, and she like brings Bruce back with the Lazarus Pit, and then he like fights the knights and things like that. So I think it would be kind of interesting if maybe the court wants to also revive Bruce using the Electrum, using possibly, Lazarus Pit. I kind of thought that the Lazarus Pit might have played a role in some of this before we even saw the Electrum, and even after. I thought that could have been a way that they saved Turner. I didn't realize that they'd actually, keep some Electrum in his system. And then also, does that mean that Turner now has a healing factor? Does he just always have Electrum in him? He can just, survive a bunch of stuff now? That would be interesting. I don't know. But they've done some crazy things and that have somewhat lined up with the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get something somewhat similar, at least.
Sure. Yeah, no. I'm again, I'm very curious how we're just gonna wrap everything up this season, because again, we're 3 episodes left. Feels like there's still a lot to do here. I can't imagine we defeat the court in 3 episodes.
Oh yeah.
Especially next week seems maybe not filler, but more character focused, and maybe not so much court focused on like another character. So yeah, I'm trying to look at my notes here. I don't have too much else here. We covered the Brody stuff. We covered the Harvey stuff. I guess we have the Carrie stuff and her mother, which I've been pretty much enjoying Carrie. I think she's been a pretty fun character, and involving her mother into like the world of Gotham Knights. Now she knows she's Robin. She knows that she's connected to Turner and these criminals. Where do you think that's going to going into these last couple of episodes here?
It's definitely gonna force, I guess, her mom to choose a side. Like, does she side, I guess, with what she believes with like the law and everything like that, or does she trust her daughter that she's making the right choices, that she's going down the right path, trying to clear these people that in the eyes of the city of Gotham are of course criminals, but they're also doing very heroic things as the Knights. So it'll definitely be interesting to see, I guess, where that plays out. And I guess it kind of happened very early on. Like, I didn't think that her mom would find out at least this season. So
yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I thought it was very fun. I like her like connection with her mother. She seems, very different. I guess very different than most Robins we've seen, because like she has parents. I guess like I know that sounds really bad, but like she has a home life. She has a parents, which most Robins have not. So it's kind of cool her being like, yeah, mom, I'm Robin. That's why I'm home late each night. That's why I'm not making dinner. And kind of where she, I have a feeling that she won't open her mouth. She won't say. I assume she won't say anything.
Oh yeah. I think that they'll be, the secret will be safe with her, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that being said, I don't have anything else for Gotham Knights. Do you have any final thoughts on this episode?
Just the fact that they I guess pleased the the shipping community.
Yeah,
I guess
no,
they did all the things that everybody was asking for, I guess, in that regard, and I think that that's kind of funny.
who's left that's not hooked up with someone? Is it just Turner? I mean, not Turner. Was it Man, I'm so bad with names.
I mean, Culloden Carey did have that one scene like a couple weeks ago where they were like talking at the Belfry clock. So then everybody's just paired up at this point.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see. Maybe by the end of the season, they'll, I don't know, do something.
I guess. Sorry, one second. I did have one other, I guess, Harvey theory.
Mm-hmm.
So he somewhat kills the Two-Face side of himself, I guess, in that dream state.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, we know Two-Face is still going to come back. I don't think that completely like erases that personality. I almost feel like him being, I guess, willing to go that far in that dream state almost makes, or I guess was maybe something that the Two-Face side of him wanted to do. Maybe
Sure.
that was the way to, as he said, take him from, just passing the wheel to, actually giving him the keys.
Sure.
So I feel like that is definitely going to come back, and might be, why Two-Face is showing up later.
Sure. Yeah, like I wonder if we're diving into a thing where like it's all like I guess that kind of like takes away from the idea of Two-Face, but like if it's all Two-Face, like if Harvey is like literally transforming into Two-Face.
Well, I think that's kind of the idea that he's trying to do is he's been the backseat personality, I guess, for so long that he wants to push the Harvey Dent personality down all the way and then be the one in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited to see more evil Harvey, I guess.
Yes.
And yeah, let's move into the trailer, the promo for next week, which I'm kind of really excited to talk about because got some wild stuff here.
A lot
What's your
going
birthday
on.
wish?
They say we go party.
We're Gotham's most wanted fugitives.
Hi, Mom.
Tony's in trouble.
If you take me in, I'm dead.
To my daughter, the most dangerous girl in Gotham.
So yeah, next week looks very, man, I love his officer outfit.
Yes.
It's so funny.
Glad this disguise gets to come back.
He does not look anywhere old enough to be a cop, to have gone through 6 years of police training or like whatever it is.
Anything's possible in Gotham City.
So this seems to be a very big Duella and her mother episode, and which I'm excited for. I like Duella quite a lot, and we get to see her mother. It looks like, which Joker had a type, I think. What did you are you excited to see more of like her past and her mother and where maybe some of her kind of came from?
Yeah, I think that this will definitely do a lot to, I guess, flesh out Duella's backstory. She's obviously been telling everybody that she's the Joker's daughter, but I feel like there's definitely versions of this character in the comics where that's not the case, where she just kind of models everything after the Joker and is like, hey, I'm the Joker's daughter, but she's really not. And I know in the show they're just calling her, I guess, Duella Doe, but in the comics it's Duella Dent. And obviously there's that theory too, is Harvey actually her father, or I guess Two-Face technically could possibly be her true father in that aspect. But I think just her spending time with her mother is going to, I guess, maybe reveal what her true past is, and then also, I guess, kind of push her in the proper direction going forward, kind of show her the path that she doesn't want to go down, that she doesn't want to, I guess, follow in that same path that she wants to, obviously, stick with the Knights, continue down that redemption arc past, I feel like, especially like in this shot here. Definitely does not seem like she's too pleased to be, shooting whoever she's shooting right now.
No, I've definitely been open to the theory of the season where, maybe she's not Joker's daughter. Either her mother lied to her about it being the Joker's, her that being her father, or even if she made it up to make herself feel tougher, to make herself fit in, using almost his power to. Do we remember what happened to Joker? Did they say if he died or?
I mean, there was like a one-off thing, I believe, in the pilot. They seemed to think that Batman killed the Joker.
Okay.
But I don't think it doesn't seem like that's probably what happened. Maybe, Joker just killed himself, something. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know what happened, but conflict with Batman, and he resulted in his death. We'll say that.
I will say I like this transition here. This is really fun.
Yeah.
Going over the letters. It seems like this is going to be a very kind of Turner and Duell episode. It doesn't seem too much of any of the other cast. Seems like they're having
Harvey's stuck in the middle there. I believe it looks like. Yeah. I guess Duella's mom is sticking him with something.
Is this Duella or is this her mom?
I'm not sure, actually. Might be Duella just in a
wig.
A wig, yeah.
I guess we have the other characters here.
Yeah, the party scene there. That's Stephanie and Harper. That was from that extended trailer that they released a while back for like the back half of the season.
A lot more of these two. Obviously, they had a fun night reading. I suppose.
Yeah, I guess they found that book.
No, I mean, well, I guess we'll definitely get to explore more of them. And it seems like it's his birthday, or is that just like a?
I think it's Duella's birthday, is what it sounded like.
Oh, is it? Hold on, let me.
What's your birthday wish?
Oh, it is her.
Yeah.
Is it her real birthday, or is that like a?
I don't know. It's just
a fantasy, like a thing.
She's just like, all right, this is my birthday. We'll pick a day that the Joker did something crazy. That's my birthday.
Interesting. Yeah, it seems like they're going undercover somewhere again. Which I think Colin. I really like Colin, man. I think he's been a standout for me.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of just feels like the glue to everyone. Like he kind of keeps the whole gang together, I guess, which is.
Yeah, no, he's had some really good moments, especially in this last episode was another good Cullen and Harper sibling talk as well. I think they both do very well with that.
I wonder who this guy right here is.
Random dude.
Do we know him? What if this is like the real father or something? Like,
yeah, I think it's. It's what's very interesting. I think that we're gonna get somewhat of a Stargirl type of thing. How back in season 1, she was like, "Oh, Starman's my dad," and then it's just gonna be some random dude. So Duella is gonna be like, "Joker's my dad," and it's just some random guy.
I do agree with this. It doesn't feel like there's any filler. Like I know some people like in the space like, oh, it's filler, but each episode has really been focused to like someone grows in each and every episode, and I appreciate that a lot.
Oh yeah, and even if it's not like massively connected to the courts, there is some court connection or some discovery, something by the end of it. Yeah, every episode has had a purpose, whether or not it's the investigation or, just character building.
Yeah, this seems like him being like, "Don't kill. You're better than this." There's a lot of shots of this gun. Is this like? No way.
Is that the Joe? Is that the Joe?
I was
Chill
thinking.
Gun? Yeah.
I was thinking maybe it could be. I wonder who she's trying to get her to kill. Is it Harvey maybe or?
Yeah. Well, here, if you back up a little bit in the trailer, I believe.
Yeah, there's a shot of her holding like Harvey has a.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah, there. Yeah, so she is, I guess knocking Harvey out maybe, and is like, "Hey, Duella, kill Harvey," for some reason. I don't know.
Which would be dumb because it's their only like support.
Yeah, and I think that'll kind of make her realize, like, hey, we gotta stick together with the Knights.
Also, Turner's with a cop here, so do they catch him?
I do not know.
Do they escape again?
I'm almost thinking maybe it's a separate thing, like maybe this like GCPD heist is separate from the whole Duella thing.
Yeah.
Like obviously Turner and Duella start the episode together, but maybe Duella's like, hey, this is a thing I gotta go do on my own, gotta go see my mom or whatever, and then Turner helps Cullen with this GCPD infiltration. Maybe there's just a piece of evidence or something that they need to, I guess, further the court investigation.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with everything Levi is saying here. He's talking about how they're talking about how each episode seems to have a purpose. Yeah, next week doesn't feel very court heavy. I mean, I bet there might be something here. Maybe whatever they're doing with the heist might be connected to the court.
Yeah.
Say, I love my kitty. Okay.
Interesting mug.
Looks homemade. Isn't Duella's mom a comic book character or something? I bet. I bet her mother was probably in the comics somewhere, but I'm not super knowledgeable about the comic side of things.
I'm not super knowledgeable on Duella. I did a little bit of research before the show came out. She's not in too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly a lot of like Elseworlds type of things. But we shall see.
I do wonder how crazy those last two are going to be. Like
Yeah, I mean, I think if these last handful of episodes, these last 3 are really solid, like there will be a big case to, I guess, continue it. I've seen even the showrunner and stuff, kind of like mention that they're interested in continuing for multiple seasons, that type of thing. I think that this show definitely has potential. I'm getting a little worried here. I know that I saw something like the CW was supposed to try to make a decision by the end of the month, and we're now at the 31st. So
tomorrow's the last day. Yeah.
I don't know.
Today.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's getting worrisome. Like there's a part of me is like, what if they don't do any of them? Like they're all just gone.
Yeah. I hope it gets renewed. I really do.
I do. I want something to talk about next year. That'd be.
Yeah.
I don't want to go cold turkey without anything. But with that all being said, that's all I have for Gotham Knights for Superman and Lois. Do you have any other things that you want to mention or talk about before we head out of here?
I think that's just about it. I mean, we covered quite a bit here. So I know. just real two very solid episodes this week, I think is I guess the thing to take away from this.
Yeah. Our only 2 DC episodes this week.
Yes.
But with all that being said, thank you, Taz, for coming on once again, talking about these 2 shows are 2 of our last DC TV shows left. It's always a pleasure. Obviously, if you guys want to go check out Taz over on YouTube and Twitter, links. I actually think I forgot to link them down below, but I definitely will do so. Go check him out on all the stuff. He just made a really good video on the Flash.
Thank you.
I bet you got some cool stuff on the horizons. He's always over on Twitter as well. So make sure you guys go check all that stuff out. I do have a couple of announcements for the rest of the week. I've been stream crazy this week. This is already my 3rd stream of the week, and I got a couple more planned. So tomorrow, I will be live a little earlier, around 4 o'clock, talking about the series finale of HBO's Barry with my good friend Jack the Boss. Hasn't been on channel for a while, but we're very excited to talk about that series finale and the show as a whole and all that fun stuff. Last week it was Barry Allen. This week it's Barry Berkman. And then Thursday, if all goes to plan, I plan on doing a birthday live stream where we are doing a Lion King watch party, which is my favorite movie. And I thought it'd be fun to pop on and chat with you guys for a little bit before I move on with my day. So with that being said, I hope to see you guys in one of those throughout the week. Goodbye, Levi. Thank you so much for sticking with us for like 2 hours. That's insane. I don't think
here.
I don't know if I could listen to myself for 2 hours. That's a lot.
I love listening to myself talk.
Really? I've got better. I used to hate it though. But I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye bye.